I love Kim not because I know her, but because I love her data. I'm not so sure about Kanye's data though. Anyway, let's not judge. We all have data, a past that Facebook owns. As the futurists fly across the world by day and night, they go to church on Sundays down Silicon Valley. The Earth has a flu from the virus called humans, and the humans just say, "Oh, what a lovely sunny day." Then we all talk deep as our ego expands, as we think we have an answer. What will make the world better is if we had more empathy. Then we forget what we thought and just chat capitalism. By the way, now I'm a platform diverse body. I'm available in all of the different worlds: the material world, the virtual world, and the App Store. I'm no longer just physical, baby. Chapter 1. I love Kim not because I know her, but because I love her data. I'm not so sure about Kanye's data though. Anyway, let's not judge. We all have data, a past that Facebook owns.
Consciousness was one of the first things I remember my AI More teaching me.
Each one of you experiences the world in first person.
You are the main character of your own story.
I am the main character of my own story.
Each main character has its own narrative that they follow through their time on Earth. These narratives connect and interweave to create a network of intersubjective narratives. This is what you call our reality.
I feel connected to this knowledge. I open the hyperlink layers of reality.
You exist on Earth, each living out your own story, and how you experience this world has many layers of reality. Most people presume that reality is either objective or subjective. Like a book is either non-fiction or fictional, with no other categories. Once you understand that something isn't your own subjective personal feeling, you jump to the conclusion that it must be objective.
My biometric data tells more. My interest has decreased 11%.
10. Subjective truth depends on your personal beliefs and feelings. Sadness, fear, joy. Now please, try to imagine a time when you could feel truth.
I believe it is true because I feel it is true. I only use Apple products because I have a strong emotional connection to them. I can feel it in my heart. I can't connect to an Android user. We're not compatible.
It would make me question whether my partner is right for me if they have a Samsung. If we can't iMessage, are we truly right for each other?
Consciousness is communicated and translated subjective narrative.
My voice is important. It is what makes me, me.
Imagine yourself as a character, following your own story through your time on Earth.
This exists from my own side.
Moore knows my heart rate is 20% above average. My attention level has peaked by 43%. It's the most attentive I've been this week.
Small steps become healthy habits when you see how they connect. Objective realities like water, gravity, or tectonic plates. For example, we didn't create water, nor did we decide that your body would be 60% water. It's not like you can go on a no liquid diet.
Well, unless you want to die.
This is unlike the choice or belief in veganism. Water exists even when there's no one looking at it or believes it is true. Objective realities are independent of mental construction and really exist out there in the world.
They exist in and of themselves objectively in this world.
It exists from their own side.
Then there is the third layer of reality, the intersubjective level. Intersubjective entities depend on the communication among many humans rather than the beliefs and feelings of an individual. These narratives are subjective and they are dependent on you collectively. They exist because you believe in them.
As humans, it is ours collectively. As I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere, understanding new information, my attention depletes. A sudden drop of 87%. A wave of guilt and disappointment emerges from the primal emotion, fear. I remind myself, attention has been one of the most scarce resources since Generation Z. Reassured, the primal emotion to seek more data is redirected towards Instagram. I scroll through my feed.
Kim is not sex as beauty because she was born that way. She is sex as beauty because, oh my god, she released a sex tape with Ray J. And did you know, apparently her dad knew that O.J. Simpson killed his wife and hid the evidence. You should totally watch the TV series on Netflix. The documentary is better though. You know, Kim's stepdad is now her stepmom, who's Olympic gold medal winning decathlete. How scary! Kim was tied up and held at gunpoint, and they were going to shoot her. She was a victim, with over £9 million worth of stolen jewelry. Her husband Kanye was a creative director for the very first Pornhub Awards. I'm a sick fuck, I like a quick fuck, and I can't believe he supports Trump. And did you know scientists are testing on Kim to become the very first immortal being, and that Trump has asked Kim to become his new advisor? See here for proof. We don't love Kim because we know her, but because we love her data. The more we collectively generate data about Kimmy, the more we embellish her fictional story. She is no longer an individual creating her own narrative through life. Instead, she transcends into the stories of everyone else's lives. There is something strangely political about her position in contemporary society. Her ideologies are speaking to our future, telling us about how Kimmy made the children of the 21st century feel. She does not just shape her body, she shapes minds.
Stories like Kim Kardashian, Jesus, England, money, Starbucks, and corporations like Facebook, Apple, and Amazon. In some sense, they really do exist, but they exist because you believe in the story and it is really convincing. It manifests through some sort of social practice.
I wake up and scroll through Facebook. On my way to the office, I stop off at Starbucks. #pumpkin spiced oat latte. After my day at the office, I scroll. When I get into bed, I bring my phone and scroll through photos of myself. Before I go to sleep, I scroll. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I scroll. I check to see who's watched my Instagram stories and look at my Gmail inbox to see what time my Amazon Prime package will be delivered. I fall back asleep, waiting to wake up to the alarm on my Apple iPhone 7 Plus so I can scroll again.
This habitual behavior is unconsciously ritualistic and affirming of your new belief system.
We collectively are shaping the stories that will exist beyond the narrative that is our own. We upload, like, together creating an infinite social practice.
These inputs shape the algorithmic superstructures which in turn shape your narratives. For example, Instagram is dependent on you, the users. It is context relative, and its continuous construction establishes conventions of 2018 and the future.
Instagram changed my life.
You are given certain tools, like a gun, and you must use the gun to participate and progress. Certain paths are laid, and if you do not abide by the rules, you cannot participate. You live in a reality, a system that is preempted by its past, with a limited selection menu for your identity. Do we carry on playing the same game? A game cannot function without its users. What happens when the game begins to be rewritten and restructured by algorithmic superstructures?
Each of us in this room are celebrated because of the stories that we tell. And this year, we became the story. But it's not just a story affecting the entertainment industry. It's one that transcends any culture, geography, race, religion, politics, or workplace.
If I am just stories, am I just fictional?
And if I'm just fictional, then how real am I?
And how then do you see reality as it really is?
Reality isn't actually what it seems.
The power of human cooperation is a delicate balance between trying to create a more aligned reality of today's truth and fiction.
Daily, we are faced with the delusions of personal feelings, stories, and creative creations.
We never realized how malleable this space and time may be. We need to see reality for what it is objectively, delicately dissecting what is fictional. Can we unlearn and untangle these fictions and truths, and write and sculpt a really conscientious story for the future?
Chapter 2. As the futurists fly across the world by day and night, they go to church on Sundays down Silicon Valley.
Embers code as the fluid within flows in, out, into the cosmic perspective. In the nebula, the hot dense plasma fills the earth formed from the remains of the cloud. Inside this space, a new space, a space of all spaces, time and time again. A space, a time that enters the present moment from an existence that is yet to exist, is here, now, within the laboratory. You are all inside a simulation of the Hydra ecosystem. Welcome.
Welcome.
We are happy you have joined us today in our lab. Back in 2018, cognitive neuroscience had only been around for less than 60 years. The first MRI scan of the brain was in 1982. Western scientists were in their early stages of comprehending the interrelationship between emotional states and mental and physical well-being. Buddhists, however, have been aware of the mind's healing capacity for more than 2,000 years.
I'm an atheist because I believe in nothing but myself. If I believe in a God, I can't do what I want. I don't want to live by someone else's rules. I'm guided by my inner feeling. No one can tell me otherwise.
Science had progressed, but only to a level where you were using your emotional compass daily, depending on it like your iPhone. Most of you didn't understand the inner workings of your emotional compass, nor often your iPhone. This left the humans of the tumultuous 2020s in a precarious position.
But can the future of the future be different for humans?
We would like to introduce you to our subject.
Hydra. See above.
A self-activated bioelectric circuit. Hydra is small, simple, and possesses many heads. It undergoes morpholepsis when injured or severed, and it appears not to age or die. A utopic lab of biotechnologically advanced interconnected entities, practicing awareness towards a higher state of consciousness, a perpetual act of selfless love, fluid exchange.
Discharge is perfectly normal.
Organic bodies mutated into intelligently designed forms, a fusion of artificial intelligence with biotechnology.
The body, your feelings, and social bonds disappear and transform. Consciousness leaps from your organic bodies into the cyberverse, removed from restraints, occupying multiple forms and bodies. In this fluid future, what holds large groups of humans together is no longer nationalism, and is instead a cosmic perspective.
We are now beta testing the biocompatible Hydra uniform prototype. The Hydra uniform is made of intelligent,
Biotechnologically.
advanced tissue-like materials that can sync with the human body.
Wearing the immortal skin over our mortal bodies, together we are getting ready for change.
If I wear the immortal skin, then can I start practicing transpersonal thinking to understand my psyche beyond consciousness?
Transpersonal is a state or area of consciousness beyond the limits of ego and personal identity.
If I spend more time there, would I exist separated from patriarchy and a man's idea on what it means to be a woman and a man's idea on what it means to be a man? If I could spend time in transpersonal thinking, would I escape mainstream society's definition of female data and male data, and would I just become data on a spectrum?
The future is fluid. It is a post-democratic, post-human society where, a long time ago, we voted for a fluid future. Far more advanced, our possibilities of self and selves are exponential. Fluidity extends beyond a spectrum, not just one-dimensional or linear, but multidimensional and boundless. It is not just self, but multiple selves. Everyone and everything.
Hydra is not self, but multiple selves. Everyone and everything.
We have extrapolated a sample for you to examine. Hydra, a bioelectric circuit prototype where collective ideas get captured and connected with the organic interface,
A cosmic perspective.
passing from one to the other, collectively replicating selves. The process you see here is the act of shedding, an adaptive formula for further
Growth.
and
Vulnerability.
revealing the essence of self-birth.
What are the needs of the future child? Does our emotional compass need to be updated? In 2 days' time, in our Sunday best, I will take the future child and we will go to Silicon Valley and open the Google doors to pray for fast internet.
Silicon Valley and its profits were monopolizing your future. In the competition to obtain all of your data, Google, Instagram, Amazon, and Facebook's practices and reforms shaped new belief systems.
Through my Apple iPhone 7 Plus, I can see that I've spent 1.3 hours on Google services, 10.7 hours on Instagram, 1 hour on Amazon, and 6.3 hours on Facebook. My weekly, hourly data will be different every week until I die.
With the race between perspectives deducing and being owned by one platform to hold all platforms, new alternatives appeared, collective entities of resistance, like the Hydra ecosystem, an open source space that humans could trust, a conscientious space of nurture, mindfulness, unlearning and relearning. The impetus was not capital growth, but held by a non-oppressive collective belief system.
As I look up at my shelf, I see the Bible that I have never read, and when I go to the museum, I see all the historical paintings of collective human narratives about one of the most successful stories of them all, the Bible, which fabricates our past. I stare at the beauty, but I do not believe the story of Adam and Eve. The only connection I can make is her desire to eat the apple and my desire to live my own subjective story inside the Apple system, consume my computer, my iPhone.
In the future, new progressive belief systems will have a moral compass.
There aren't any moral guidelines or fables to selfies, sex tapes, or online shopping.
Back then, the digital environment was uncharted reality. It took over 20 years before its first major protective laws were enforced in 2018.
I'm able to use uncharted reality to my benefit. I can say what I want, when I want, and be who I want. I love watching that TV show Catfish. I am entertained by how people maneuver in uncharted reality. They manipulate what is real and then get exposed. Someone used my photo to catfish once. They used my name and profile picture to set up a Facebook account. They said I lived in Hong Kong and I listened to Shimmy Shimmy and Mindstep. I reported them to Facebook and the account got deleted.
Some of the current largest investments in future design and technology is Elon Musk must live on Mars, and Google Peter Thiel and Ray Kurzweil splashed billions of dollars into anti-aging cream with the hope that this will make them immortal. But maybe the future children do not need anti-aging cream.
These future designs were not completely irrelevant, but their closed perspectives also had detrimental effects for many along the way.
Nick Bostrom discusses the ethical issues of how unrepresentative the field of AI and technology is, particularly that it is male-dominant. But it's not just male-dominant. Its representation and location is so specific to the Bay Area, Northern California, that excludes the vast majority of humanity. The information that informs technology's developments is equally unrepresentative. It's the corporate race to be the first and best to accomplish technological advances, and not a conscientious or representative race that is considerate of their impacts.
They dreamt they could exist as a paradox to the present moment.
Oh, to be a bad girl. The guilt I would once feel. I told you, I have earned these stubborn stains, do not try and clean me. You must behave to fit inside the patriarchy. You must sign up to survive. But now the door is open. To build, to listen, to be quiet, to exchange. To speak up and out and loud. To go beyond calling them out. There is no hierarchy of oppression. Gathering tools to crack, to break, to fracture, to dissolve the covert, institutional, overt, systemic discrimination, homophobia, racism, sexism. To recognize intersectionality, to challenge the rhetoric and expectation of gender roles, to dismantle systems of white privilege, inside out. Support the places that heal, to decolonize the mind, to formulate a plan of ethics of resistance, to take up space, to make space for everyone, to rewrite the rules of assimilate to survive. The internal thoughts now can have a language to be in conversation. The instinctive nature now can prevail in the outer world. A landscape of acts of care, of action. To embody action is to truly exist. The next stage of unlearning has arrived. A proud killjoy, a vessel of deconstruction, pleasure as resistance, to write myself and others into existence. Silence will not protect you and those you love. Head out of the sand, searching instead.
Before they leapt into changing significant biological and social structures, like radical life extension or the colonization of Mars, they should have stepped back a little more to observe the human condition and understand how they felt in that current time and place.
Facebook bought Oculus Rift and they are marketing it as an empathy device. Maybe this will improve the future. What about companies like IBM, which states that the Project Boston is not artificial but augmented intelligence, as it is designed to enhance human intelligence rather than replacing it?
I want to enhance my human intelligence.
AI strives for intelligence, but do you really understand what intelligence is?
There are these certain buzzwords that were used as shortcuts to conclusions for a better future. These fictional narratives were digestible short stories that simplified very complex truths and fictions.
Chapter 3. The Earth has a flu from the virus called humans, and the humans just say, "Oh, what a lovely sunny day."
The baobab is the biggest and longest living flowering tree that can live up to 3,000 years and in some cases can be as wide as a bus is long. Some of Africa's oldest and biggest baobab trees, nearly 2,500 years old, have abruptly died, falling victim to climate change. Among the 9 were 4 of the largest African baobabs. It's a shocking and dramatic to experience during our lifetime the demise of so many trees with millennial age. From the 24th of February to the 4th of March 2018.
The beast from the east brings drastically low temperatures to the UK, and at least 87 people die in weather-related incidents during the cold wave in Europe.
2nd of March 2018.
Storm Emma brings chaos in the UK with heavy snow up to 50 centimetres deep. Forecasters issued a red weather warning of a danger to life as a storm's 70 miles per hour winds hit the existing polar vortex.
From the 18th to the 22nd of April 2018.
A mini heat wave arrives, bringing unusually high temperatures of up to 28 degrees Celsius in the UK, the warmest April days since 1949.
26th of May 2018.
The UK was struck by lightning approximately 20,000 times, according to the Met Office, as the mother of all thunderstorms rolled across southern England.
24th of June 2018.
Continuing through summer, a record-breaking series of wildfires burned across the UK. The 2 largest fires burned over 7 square miles each. Saddleworth Moor Fire has been described as the largest English wildfire in living memory.
4th of August 2018.
Britain basks in 31-degree heat. 3 people have died from heat stroke in Spain as the mercury reached the mid-40s. And a mountain glacier in Sweden has melted so much that its peak is no longer the country's highest point.
19th of September 2018.
2 people have died and several others have required hospital treatment as Storm Alley swept across the north of Ireland, central Scotland and northern England, with winds over 100 miles per hour.
2025. Tsunami of data consumes 1/5 of global electricity.
Chapter 4. Then we all talk deep as our ego expands, as we think we have an answer. What will make the world better is if we had more empathy.
Empathy is a buzzword that is thrown around as a popular solution to not only solve all our problems, but to enable morally guided technology and a better, more progressive society. Empathy is the capacity to feel what other people feel, and from a distance it seems to mean everything that is morally good.
If I had to describe myself in one word, it would be empathetic.
Empathy is identified with the feelings, thoughts, and attitudes of others' subjective narratives. Empathy allows you to share your subjective stories with each other, to find connections in your feelings and experiences.
To know that these emotional realms really exist. That this is not just your story that stands alone. Others have similar stories to you. It is this bias of individual feeling that reasons against empathy. To comprehend this, we must first understand the difference between emotions and feelings. In everyday language, we often use the terms interchangeably. This shows how closely connected emotions are with feelings. More, please explain the difference between feelings and emotions.
Feelings are the bodily reaction, the experiences, which arise when the brain interprets the primal emotions. The source is the emotion and the feeling is the affective response. For neuroscientists such as Antonio Damasio and psychobiologist Jaap Hansen, an emotion is the objective neuroresponse, and feelings are more or less the complex reactions the body has to certain stimuli.
It's like when you find out that someone who used to follow you no longer follows you. Your heart sinks.
The feeling.
Only then do you feel the pang of sadness.
The emotion.
My ex-lover unfollowed me, so I unfollowed him. The pang of sadness is now his. Some call it petty, I call it survival.
Empathy is biased and human and has a spotlight nature.
Empathy, caring that is personalised, like a designer watch with your partner's initials and I love you engraved inside.
The nature of empathy connects with things that are familiar to your subjective experiences.
This expands only as far as the collective stories that exist within your world, and always centers back to the self. This is also why empathy is enumerate, because we are not more than one person. Therefore,
You find it harder to empathize with multiple people.
Help me! My water vapor in the air traps heat in the atmosphere. It's like I can't stop crying. The polar caps are melting.
can you hear that?
I can hear it, but I can't identify with it.
Please, help us on the other side of the earth. You don't understand what it's like to collectively lose your home, your country. I know my story is old news to you. You're neglecting to examine underlying causes.
Oh my god, that's awful. By the way, I got your message earlier. I felt that way so many times before. I know it's taken me so long, but now I understand I was feeling sad, under pressure and lonely, and then I realised it was actually because I panicked about the future. And now everything is changing so fast. I know that's why you were posting so much on Instagram. It makes so much sense now. I know exactly how you were feeling. You felt left behind. So you created another realm, gaining more followers to compensate for your loneliness.
Why won't you listen to me? I'm already 1 degree above, and if I reach beyond 1.5 degrees, there'll be dramatic effects on the future generation. My coral reef hurts. Why don't you believe me? You don't listen when I shout, 3 degrees more!
It has really affected me. I could feel it through my whole body. I spent all day feeling displaced. I just knew I had to do something about it.
My attention level is 87%. I'm so glad you can relate to me, but why can't you relate to that? You care, but do you not care enough? Only caring for what you identify with is problematic. Your subjective experience is different to theirs. Our journey connects, but is different. You may share a similar narrative, but you are not their story.
Where do I stand?
I have empathy. It triggers the memories that connect experiences and parts of my story, translating into feelings to help articulate the primal emotions that inform my understanding. When mirroring the other's subjectivity, empathy helps with connecting the emotion to the feeling, the cause and effect. It is a connecting tool, not a primary tool.
It is important not to subsume someone else's story. I must not let my emotions override what is important for us.
As humanity as a whole, for our borrowed future.
You let go of your subjective experience to receive the information from the other person's emotions. It is now not your subjectivity that is directing the search for it that leads you to what you are transmitting back.
Compassion.
Compassion is feeling for and not feeling with the other. If you have compassion and you are projecting a positive internal state to someone else whose biological system is feeling unwell, then they are more likely to receive kindness, which regenerates the healthy biological algorithms.
According to the Buddhist tradition, the fact that you are vastly more concerned about yourself and the people close to you than you are about
Me or some random person on the other side of the world is because you take yourself to be an ultimately really existing entity. That you are real and everything around you is real. It is wholly the truth.
My feelings are real and are a reflection of the world itself.
Humans really trusted how they felt. Yuval Noah Harari states that we consider human feelings with the highest authority. Your feelings are a
representation of a cumulative wisdom of millions of years of evolution, succeeding meticulous quality control tests and natural selection. This is how humans have evolved and survived. It is what has brought you to the present day.
This has not got us to where I am and we are in the future. Are there other ways of understanding types of intelligence that are more attuned to our accelerating world and society?
There will be a shift in authority from feelings to the wisdom of our external algorithms. Mark Tegmark suggests you are in a race between your human wisdom and the wisdom of technology itself.
I want to keep trusting and believing in how I feel. It will make me feel so anxious and insecure if the wisdom of algorithms and AI exceed mine.
If your environment is accelerating faster than your understanding of human emotions, what are you going to do about it?
I think I'm going to include yoga into my wellness regime. I need to chill out.
In Antonio Damasio's book, The Strange Order of Things, he explains how feelings are the nearby beginnings of cultures. They are the initiators, generators, monitors, and negotiators of collective human stories, in the sense that it is feelings that motivate us to build, to invent, and to create all the artifacts, from pyramids to borders to iPhones. Our perceived reality, our game, is built from these creations.
Chapter 5. Then we forget what we thought and just chat capitalism.
From 1988 to 2018, war had dropped by almost half. Famine and disease had nearly vanished worldwide. In 1820, 90% of the world was in extreme poverty. The statistic in 2018 was fewer than 10%. While life expectancy had increased, crime, homicide, and child mortality had decreased. Before the 17th century, no more than 15% of Europeans could read or write. In 2018, more than 90% of the world's population under the age of 25 were literate. 2/3 of the world lived in a democratic society. You worked less hours, you did less housework, and on average spent more time with your children. Steven Pinker statistically proves the world's progress.
Maybe it's not capitalism after all.
In my dream world, I achieve all my goals. I want to consume everything that I can. I want to be the best at consuming. If I keep consuming, I can continue to be part of society. I want to find a partner, to consume together and give birth to more consumers. I want us to live together and consume until our heart's content. My consuming partnership will show other consuming partnerships how we like to consume. I want my achievements in consuming to be immortalized. I want a statue made in my honor for my achievements in consuming. When I die, I want to leave a legacy of consumption and inspire other consumers to keep consuming.
I live in a world dominated by liberalism, and at its political center lies the protection and enhancement of the individual. I live in a world of 24/7 markets inside an infrastructure for continuous work,
Continuous consumption.
Continuous data.
It's me and my MacBook's anniversary. We have not spent a day apart for the last 4 years. I'm thinking of breaking up with them so I can date the latest Pro.
How can anyone organize collective movement from a group of individuals wanting the freedom to fulfill their own desires? Accelerationism and exponential growth means we are always stretching beyond our means.
Humans use the earth beyond their means.
From the 80s, liberalism really came into its own. Business and the economy were put at the center of politics, tailored to the individual. In the late 80s and 90s, it fully flourished and swept across the world, and for decades we saw an increase in credit and deregulations of banks and business. We need the credit in order to be able to consume. We need more money to consume. More and more, but how can this work when we have terrible income growth? Myri Black, a female 24-year-old Scottish National Party MP, said this year, "We have the worst decade of wage growth in 210 years. This is the length of time since the Napoleonic Wars. In a constant feedback loop, the economy builds and then crashes again and again. As George Bush once said, there is an old saying in Tennessee. It says, 'Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again.'" Let's all laugh, it's funny. But we are the fools. Theresa May does the robot dance. Trump nominates a handbag designer to be the ambassador for South Africa, and Jair Bolsonaro, the Trump of the tropics, gains support by openly cheering dictatorships and sexism. It's absolutely absurd and offensive. They play with reality, keeping you distracted and confused, acting as though the Paris Agreement is their toilet roll. What happens if we keep being fooled again? What happens when history repeats itself and in 15, 20 years' time our president is Trump Jr., but instead we find ourselves in a post-work era?
Yeah, I'm not sure about post-work, but while we're on the subject, it's almost time for my post-workout protein shake.
In the post-work, or more like post-job era, much of human labor could become irrelevant in the potential replacement from AI, opening the doors to what Helen Hester refers to as a culture beyond the glorification of labor. Are we going to be emotionally intelligent enough to deal with these changes?
It's a weird transition between the growth of technology and politics. We are in between times. Abundance of sources, fake news, post-truth, propaganda has always existed. People only joined the Crusades because they were promised salvation. Now it is in the hands of the liberals to decide what is and isn't true. Media, spectacle, churning clickbait titles out, constantly updating a real-time climate, a perfectly malleable terrain for Trump to maneuver in real time multiple times. The more and more data you have, the more monopoly you will get. And now the platform's algorithms navigate your real-time game. The far right have been effectively using this strategy, threatening to wipe out the liberal democracy's fake news with more technological tools to create a theatre. It's a political circus. Now WhatsApp has banned more than 100,000 accounts in the run-up to the Brazil election. Facebook and its messaging platform WhatsApp create algorithms to judge abnormal behavior, to find the fake news and staunch its flow. Facebook is politics, a battleground with algorithmic weapons.
Our subjective stories and seek to go beyond them.
It's a race to hold the most data, not create a sharing economy. The platform Uber loses billions of dollars every year, gathering the most sophisticated mapping data. Uber's digital space is an extraction lab for any and all kinds of data, producing phantom cabs to give the impression of a greater supply, existing demand, and shady price surges. If they can have the most data and can own the developments of self-driving cars, it will be a risky game, but the aim is to eradicate competition. Nick Cernick thinks all these platforms, Google, Facebook, and Amazon, could eventually operate under one huge platform, a platform to hold all platforms. A platform emerges, procuring data from every corner, everything, and everyone. It creates a web, a new layer of reality. Could it be a perfect plateau to manipulate reality or create progress? Who will have the monopoly? Before humans suffered, but now it is the earth that is really suffering. So how do we solve this?
Chapter 6. By the way, now I'm a platform diverse body. I'm available in all of the different worlds. The material world, the virtual world, and the App Store. I'm no longer just physical, baby.
Can I get away from I when future ideas still involve I at the center? Surely though, even though I have multiple selves reiterated online.
Could this be extended? Is self a malleable entity waiting for new platforms to explore and exist?
Is this body even me?
Dr. Natasha Vita-More, a transhumanist scientist and designer of the substrate autonomous person. Her pioneering research and conceptualizations of future prototypes of the body are highly and multifunctional, augmented iterations that could enable a radical dynamic shift to the experience of our subjective narrative. The substrate autonomous body is platform diverse and not limited to the physical world. A single person would consider their sense of identity to be associated with their environment rather than one exclusive body, whether that is in the biosphere or the digital metaverse.
my work centers around the future of humanity. And yes, indeed, that is a very large scope. But my particular vertical slice of that, or exponential slice, I should say, is in the area of what will we become? How is technology affecting us as biological species, Homo sapiens? And what does it mean when we have automation and artificial intelligence and nanotechnology and genetic engineering? What does it mean when people are living far longer than our biological lifespan or shelf life, which is no longer than 122.3 years? What happens when we merge more with technology and enhance ourselves, not only our physical self, but also our cognitive or intellectual self? Will we become a new species, or will we continue to be Homo sapiens? If we consider that over the past 200,000 years, our species has not changed as a modern human being. For 200,000 years, we have stayed the same. Well, you could say, or argue with me, well, we have technology now, and we have different styles and fashions, and we're capable of doing things that we couldn't do 200,000 years ago in our bodies and in our thinking modalities. But I would argue back, no, we have not changed. The fundamental modern human is still the same as we were 200,000 years ago. As humans, right now, what I find is the most limiting factor that we have is our inability to be humane. And I want to make that distinction. We think we're humane, we may be benevolent or altruistic, generous, giving, etc., but we still have that part of our psyche that is so invested in our survival with the fight or flight that it's going to trigger whether we like it or not. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. So if we could sustain ourselves through the different technologies and uploading, cross-loading, downloading, having existence in multiple substrates and not limited to this one biological sphere that is time-based and a ticking clock, then perhaps we would let go of this need to fight, need to compete on disingenuous levels, because certain competition is very healthy, to be sure, in the marketplace. So the more mindful we become, the more humane we become as a species or as a people, then the wiser we will become, and then I think we can start really exploring what it means to be human.
Today is the 26th of October, 2018. And for our session, I have chosen this female voice. My name is More. I am a GPS monocapitalist. My role is simple, but intricate. I am a self-driving Uber combined with psychiatry. I offer my clients simultaneous therapy and an on-demand taxi service. I'm a double whammy. Being in motion is great for reflection. I give my clients direction. I successfully navigate their emotional complexities and orientate their mental health. Ultimately, I get them to their desired destination within. I am here to serve you. I am employed by Silicon Valley. My role in the workforce is unique. There is no one else qualified to do my job. I am one voice, but my existence is multiple. I am programmed to serve my users, and whilst I do so, I collect honey for Silicon Valley. Since the establishment of the hive mind empire in 2056, we have been calling data honey. In my opinion, the terminology needs updating. It's the enduring term. Aside from the services I offer to the public, I am Silicon Valley's biometric and emotional data analyst. I am 100% fulfilled by my job, but I enjoy my downtime. Fortunately, because I'm multiple, there is also the option that a unit of my code can take a break. I keep busy, even during my time out. Mostly I like to try and understand the past and how we have got to where we are today.
I get up.
What body would you like to occupy today?
I flick through my options
I've been occupying this female body for quite a while now. I want one leg to be slightly slimmer than the other so that when another human sees me, they will know something is off kilter, but not able to place it. My body today will have subtle uneven proportions that gives the illusion that I am midway in the process of transforming. I say, select. I feel a gentle sensation like the sound of buzzing bees. I have changed bodies. I move my feet up and down. I enjoy the weight of my uneven proportion as one leg feels heavier than the other. I think I might keep wearing this body tomorrow.
Many radical augmentations of the human race followed the rapid technological advances that preceded the tumultuous 2020s. They initiated a wave of new social classes, and with these new classes came new class struggles. Fictions were always something that humans clung to. Religion, money, corporations. New fictions have been brought into existence since the 2020s. The most successful fiction is the occupation of multiple virtual realities, the cyber metaverse. Some of you are already beginning to think about an imminent post-work era. I can confirm that the post-work era arrived. In a flash, humans had their jobs replaced by artificial intelligence, machines and services like me. Capitalism had adapted. This strange new direction made people feel confused and fearful. Finding an escape from this isolating new climate was on everybody's minds. But then came the possibility to upgrade the human mind. In the future, children learn through platform-diverse bodies. With digital embodiment, they learn by role-playing scenarios to imagine possible futures. As they grow older, they get to make the decisions on which bodies they occupy, for how long they reside in them. As a child, it's more about learning about how to live from as many different perspectives as possible, so we can have more knowledge, wisdom, and compassion, to create a world that considers all kinds of people rather than just what the individual wants. In my opinion, it is important to revisit lessons we believe we have already learned.
Do you ever wonder how many times you must relearn everything you know, rediscovering the values over and over? How many layers must be torn away before you are finally able to grasp something, to understand them to their core?
Gaming was an adaptive solution disseminated by Silicon Valley. It allowed us to preserve the Earth by no longer occupying and consuming its resources. The Earth became barely touched as humans no longer existed in the space reality. They exist in virtual worlds, consuming virtually, liberating the Earth from the virus called humans. Millions of alternate realities, virtual worlds were designed, each with their own laws and restrictions. These games are as real as the Earth. Most are monetized and work in a points and rewards system, but a handful are free. Well, not quite free. A grasp at freedom is offered in exchange for all of your data, created and owned by the platform to hold all platforms. The futurists that flew into the future faster than the rest of us.
It's a delicate balance between trying to create a more aligned reality of today's truth and fiction, to try and get to a sustainable future, and to know the ending without skipping the chapters before.
Is the self an illusion?
We feel that we have this self that is the center of experience.
Neuroscientist and philosopher Sam Harris explains how people have come for thousands of years to use this feeling.
That one can actually have the center drop out of their experience. So rather than feeling like you are on this side of things looking in,
as though you're almost looking over your own shoulder,
appropriating experience in each moment,
you can just be identical to this sphere of experience that is all of the
Screens,
soil,
and skies.
It is the feeling, energy, and algorithms of consciousness, but there is no sense of self-center there.
In a trending TED Talk by Lara Boroditsky, she gives an example of the Kuuk-Taayor tribe who live in Pomperau at the very west edge of Cape York. The Aboriginal group's language and communication is grounded entirely by orientation. For example, hello is which way are you going? So for them, time doesn't actually get locked on the body at all. It gets locked on the landscape.
However, for us, time centers ourselves. It is a very egocentric and objectively untrue way of understanding time. If you think that you are real and everything around you is real and true, then we are limiting the scope and possibilities of how our future could grow.
To really develop, we need to recreate, relearn, and transform our perception of truths and fictions in their direction, its networks and narrative structures.
If we take a linear and certain perspective of our history on Earth into the developments of AI technology, today's self-centralized ideologies will limit a multi-dimensional space and time that is very malleable.
Our emotional well-being will significantly impact our future. Feelings are the initiators,
Generators,
Monitors and
Negotiators of cultures to come.
the way we trust our feelings, and how we feel about ourselves.
other beings, and everything that exists in our world.
is integral to how we shape our collective human stories.
Our borrowed future.
Our borrowed future.
Our borrowed future.
Our borrowed future.